Okay, alright guys, welcome to your tutorial on how to create a webcam or a webcam that captures the image of the user using PHP and HTML5 API. Actually, we are not going to use PHP. What we are going to do, we are going to use JavaScript and we are going to style out our webcam, and finally we are going to make an index.php. The reason that I declared index.php because I will be able to access my camera using the PHP localhost. That is the reason why that we are using a PHP. So to get started, here I have an index.php file here. So what did I need to do? I need to specify the doc type. Sorry guys, the doc type to HTML in order to use HTML5 API. Okay, so let me build the HTML file here by making HTML, and here I made a head to link to the style sheet. So to link to style sheet, what you're going to do, we are going to make a link here, which is going to be relative to style sheet. Sorry, style sheet, and the href. I'm going to use a CSS file called ama.css. Okay. So what we are going to do next? Is very simple. The first thing, let's design the layout here. So I'm going to the body here, and let me class my body here, and let me create a div tag in order to make the layout or the container here. So the ID for this thing, let me call it this thing here, and then in here I'm going to make a video so that I'm going to stream to the video here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make the source because I'm going to handle the source using the JavaScript. So instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the width and the height. So let me call it the height here to be 300. Okay, so simple, right? So let's tell this thing using the CSS here. So the ID was this thing here, and what I'm going to do, the first thing, I'm going to set a background of #CCC, which stands for gray, and let me make the width to be 400 pixel, and I need to set the margin to be I mean 0 followed by an auto to make this thing center, and the last thing that's remaining, I'm going to give it a border of 2 pixel, and I'm going to make this thing solid, and I'm going to make this thing red. So let's see what we have so far. So let me make sure that I have launched my server. It's going to be on XAMPP. So I'm going to start my server here, and then what I'm going to do in this folder here, so I'm going to go to XAMPP, and it's going to be htdocs, and I got a file called Yane, which will be my program here. So let me go to Google Chrome and let me launch this program. Okay, so let me go to localhost and let me type Yane here. So my file name is going to be index.php. So let me call this index.php. So if I call this index.php, it's going to give me this layout. Okay, so simple. So we just made an interface only. We don't design the brain for this program. So the brain for this program is going to be the JavaScript here. So in the JavaScript, I made a self-invoking function. So what does a self-invoking function mean? A function that calls itself. Okay, so let's define this function here. So the first activity is going to fetching the video here. So I'm going to make a var called a video, and I'm going to document, and I'm going to get element by ID, and I'm going to get the element called a video. Okay, so let me make sure I give this thing an ID. So the ID for the video is going to be video. Simple. So the next activity is going to be getting the vendor URL, which is going to be our browser in this case. So the first is going to be getting the URL for the Windows. If it is not using another standard, I'm going to use the WebKit standard, which is going to be for Google Chrome, and let me type window. Okay, so I made the standards down here. So the other activity is going to be getting the media here. So I'm going to get the media through their standards. The first default argument is going to be getting the user media. So I'm going to pass get user media here, or if I am using Google Chrome, I'm going to use a WebKit standard, and it's going to be get user media, or the other is going to be navigator. If I'm using Mozilla, I'm going to use mouse, and I'm going to tell get user media. So the other standard is going to be for Internet Explorer, and I'm going to type MS, which stands for Microsoft, and I'm going to type get user media. So this is the thing that I have to do. So let's create this function, which is going to be get user media. So this get user media accepts two objects. So the first object is going to be the video, in which I'm going to set this thing true because I'm going to capture an image, and the other one is going to be the audio, which I'm going to set this thing false because I will capture image. To capture image, for sure it doesn't need an audio. Okay, so the other functions are the first one, the function that streams the video. In here I'm going to pass the stream here, and the other one is going to be a function that will handle the error. Okay, so to stream this video, I'm going to use the video source. So I'm going to set video src, and I'm going to use the vendor. So let me make this thing vendor URL. So I'm going to use the vendor URL, and I'm going to create an object of a string. So I'm going to say create object URL, and I'm going to pass the string. So if I pass the string, this thing probably is going to work. So I'm going to forcefully play the video, and I can make this thing also an autoplay. So if I come to my web browser, probably I'm going to see my video here. Okay, so I guess there is some problem here. So let's fix this thing. Yeah, the error was I didn't make a link to the script file. And let me make this thing src, and let me type my JavaScript, and let me close my JavaScript again. Okay, so now we can run the program. So here you can see me right on this video. So what we are going to do next, we are going to capture an image. So to capture an image, it's very simple. The first thing, let's create an href, or we can do this thing on the next tutorial. So we are going to capture the image on the part 2 of this tutorial. So till we meet on the next tutorial, keep on liking, keep on subscribing, keep on sharing my videos with your friend. Peace and love. Ciao.